How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
This is my video update on this Wednesday late afternoon, June the 18th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the Tucker Carlson, Ted Cruz interview that will be published. The full interview, I believe, is going to be published today, maybe tomorrow, but Tucker Carlson interviewed Senator Ted Cruz, and he put out a clip, about a 1 minute, 20-second clip from that interview where Tucker Carlson asks Ted Cruz some questions about Iran. And Ted Cruz is foaming at the mouth about the U.S. going to war with Iran. He is very, very excited about a regime change in Iran. So Tucker Carlson asked him some questions about Iran. Some very basic questions about Iran, like what's the size of Iran's population? And what about Iran's demographic makeup? And Ted Cruz had no freaking idea. He had no idea. He was completely clueless. Didn't know what Iran's population size was, had no idea about Iran's demographics, which you would think would be a very, very important thing to know. Both of those things, you would think that a U.S. senator who is calling for the United States to go to war with Iran would know these very important basic facts about the country that the U.S. is about to attack. And Ted Cruz had no clue. He had absolutely no freaking clue. I bet you if you handed Ted Cruz a map of the world and you asked him, can you find Iran on this map? Ted Cruz would not know. He would have no idea where Iran is located on a map. That would be my guess. But Tucker made Ted Cruz look really, really bad, and deservedly so. It shows how ignorant U.S. government officials are, and their ignorance, as they're ignorant about the countries that they're calling for the U.S. to go to war with. Pretty effed up, huh? Very effed up. So there's another clip that Tucker Carlson published. And in this clip, Tucker asks Ted Cruz about spying, about countries spying on Americans, on U.S. government officials, on senators, including allies, countries that the United States considers to be allies, countries in Europe, Israel, the United States, his friends, spying on American government officials. And Tucker asked Ted Cruz, what do you think about that? Isn't it wrong? Isn't that messed up? And Ted Cruz was like, no, it's not messed up. Kind of baked in the cake, Ted Cruz said. He started to talk about what it means to be conservative, and when you're conservative, you're pragmatic, and you understand that these things happen. These things happen, right? Our friends spy on us. Tucker was like, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with being conservative, having your allies spy on you, spy on a senator. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So we'll wait for the full interview to be published. Ted Cruz, he put out a message on X, and he was doing some damage control. He said, did a long interview with Tucker. He released a snippet playing a gotcha on the population of Iran. I declined to play that silly game. Watch the full 2-hour interview where Tucker attacks Trump, attacks the AIPAC lobby, and falsely claims Iran is not trying to assassinate Trump. You know where he gets that assassination narrative from, which you're hearing a lot of U.S. government officials and senators, people like Graham and Cruz and Bolton. They're saying that Iran wants to or wanted to assassinate Trump. They're getting that from a CNN article that was published last year, July 16th, 2024, 3 days after Butler, Pennsylvania. 3 days after Butler, Pennsylvania, CNN publishes a freaking article with the title Exclusive. Secret Service ramped up security after intel of Iran plot to assassinate Trump. No known connection to the shooting. CNN in this article, they admit, they come right out and say it. There's no connection to what happened in Butler to this Iranian plot to assassinate Trump, but CNN says that the U.S. Secret Service and the intel agencies in the U.S., they presented the Trump campaign with some information that Iran was looking to avenge the assassination of Soleimani, and so they had some sort of a plot to take out then candidate Trump. And this article was published 3 days after Butler, PA. In the article, CNN has an interview with the Iranian foreign minister, and the Iranian foreign minister says this is BS. We're using the legal route to try and bring justice to the assassination of Soleimani. And the foreign minister said, in no way are we plotting any type of an assassination revenge on any U.S. government officials. Legally, yes, we're using the courts, the international courts, because what they did to Soleimani was illegal according to international law, and we would like to bring these people to justice. But the foreign minister said the story about some sort of a revenge retaliation, a revenge assassination, he said is BS. But anyway, this is where this narrative about taking out Trump originates from. It's all coming from this CNN article that was published last year after Butler, Pennsylvania. Immediately after Butler, Pennsylvania. So Trump held a meeting of his National Security Council yesterday, and it was thought, some media outlets were reporting that Trump had decided to side with Israel and to start attacking Iran, directly attacking Iran. But later we got an announcement saying that Trump has not made a decision yet about what he's going to do with Iran. But the supreme leader of Iran, he came out with a statement on X, and he said that Iran is not going to surrender. I believe he's replying to Trump's post on Truth Social where Trump says unconditional surrender. But we're waiting on Trump, basically, and the reports are, I think from the Wall Street Journal, they're reporting that Trump is going to make a decision in 24 to 48 hours as to what he's going to do with Iran. Is he going to go to war with Iran, or is he not going to go to war with Iran, direct war with Iran? Which would mean, in my opinion, two options. If it's the war route, the first option would be that the U.S. just starts hitting Iran hard, right? Bombing bridges, bombing water facilities, bombing military facilities, bombing nuclear facilities, bombing energy facilities, bombing sewage, communication. So that would be the one horrific possibility. The other possibility is that Trump opts for a limited strike. For example, he just goes after the Fordo nuclear enrichment facility, the one that's buried deep underground, and he just looks to dismantle that, and then comes out with a statement and says that the United States has conducted a limited strike on Iran, and the nuclear enrichment facility has been destroyed, and that's that. That's the other option. If we don't get some sort of an off-ramp negotiated deal, that's still a possibility, a remote possibility, but it's still there. So we're going to wait 24 to 48 hours and see what Trump decides. Trump posted on Truth Social more crazy Truth Social posts from Trump from yesterday. He posted, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA." I don't know how true that is. If Trump has, if the United States does have air superiority, probably, maybe. Trump then posted, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out or kill, at least not for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter." And then Trump posted unconditional surrender. Okay, so he posted the unconditional surrender today. So Trump saying that the United States for now is not going to kill the supreme leader, the religious and political leader of Iran. Way to go, Trump. Nice message coming from the President of the United States on Truth Social. Truth Social diplomacy, foreign policy. Truth Social foreign policy by Donald J. Trump. Khamenei, we know where you are, and for now you're safe. For now you're safe. We're not going to kill you yet. We're not going to kill you now. Amazing posts from Trump. It's hard to believe that the President of the United States is posting this type of rhetoric on social media 24 hours before he's about to take a decision to go to war with Iran. Hard to believe, man. Really hard to believe. So there was, according to Politico, a fight between Tulsi Gabbard and Trump. She was actually she was present during the National Security Council meeting, but Politico is saying that she is clashing with Trump. Inside the clashes between Trump and Gabbard, the director of national intelligence has rankled Trump with her statements about nuclear war, and the president has suggested she's off message. She is off message because the messaging right now is, in all caps, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. In all caps, the messaging is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. You got it, Tulsi? And Tulsi's message, her intelligence, because she is Trump's director of national intelligence, is telling her, we have seen zero evidence of Iran trying to acquire a nuclear weapon. No, Tulsi, you're off message. Iran must not get a nuclear weapon, all caps. That's the messaging, Tulsi. So they're in conflict. But the good news, the positive news, is that Tulsi Gabbard, according to reports, was present at the national security meeting that took place yesterday. So that's a positive. Here's an ex-post from Ray McGovern. Memo to Tulsi Gabbard, resign. Trump has trashed the last vestige of independent intel analysis. Don't lie. You are not on the same page. Leave lying to Trump. He knows Iran is not working on a nuclear weapon. Go public. Americans have right to know this. So let's move on, and we do have some updates as to what's going on between Iran and Israel with regards to the missiles that each side is sending over to the other side, is launching over to the other side. And according to the Wall Street Journal, they are saying that Israel is running low on defensive interceptors. This is what an official is telling the Wall Street Journal. The Washington Post is also reporting that Israel can maintain its missile defense for 10 or 12 more days. That's according to the Washington Post. Now, maybe this is true. Maybe this is meant to trick Iran. That's also possible. But one thing is for certain. Both Iran and Israel, it does look like they're running through their interceptors, their missiles. The question is which side can last longer? Does Iran last longer, or does Israel last longer? And the problem that Iran has is that if these reports are to be believed, and Israel is running out of interceptors and has maybe 10 or 12 days left when it comes to missile defense, Iran is also running through its missiles. We don't know how many missiles Iran has, but the missiles that they are firing into Israel, they're getting less and less. And the thing that Israel has is that they have the United States to back them up. So even though Israel may be running low on various missile defense and interceptors, they have the United States there waiting to provide more missiles, more interceptors, but also waiting to decide if they're going to attack Iran, if they're going to get involved in this, directly attack Iran. So that's the problem that Iran faces right now.
Have you been answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities? Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country.
Let's shift gears, and we can talk about Project Ukraine and the G7, because it looks like the G7 meeting with Abraham Lincoln #2 in attendance did not go well. Did not go well at all. We are getting many reports from Collective West Media, which claims that Trump had no interest whatsoever to meet with Zelensky in Canada, and Trump would not even stay, not even for an hour or two in Canada to meet with Zelensky, not even to meet with Zelensky for 15 minutes. Trump has zero freaking interest meeting with Abraham Lincoln #2. And this is upsetting Zelensky, causing a lot of panic in Kiev, and causing a lot of panic with the other G7 countries. The Guardian has an article with the title, Ukraine left in lurch as Trump rushes out of G7 without meeting Zelensky. U.S. President said he had to leave to focus on Israel-Iran conflict without addressing Russia-Ukraine ceasefire. You know that Trump, if he really wanted to, if Ukraine was really on his agenda, on his radar, that Trump would have stayed in Canada even for a couple of hours to sit down with Zelensky for at least 15 to 30 minutes. I mean, during the Pope's funeral, he sat down for 15 minutes with Zelensky in the Vatican, right? Even for 15 minutes, if Ukraine was still important to the Trump administration, they would have told Trump, his team would have told him, just don't leave just yet. No need to go to Washington just yet. Zelensky's on his way. Sit down for 15 minutes with him, and then you can go to D.C. But nope. Trump left on purpose. He left on purpose quickly so that he can avoid sitting down with Abraham Lincoln number 2. And then we get the news that Zelensky will not be invited to the events of the NATO summit. That news also broke today from the Kiev Post. Zelensky will only attend NATO summit's state dinner. Next week's NATO leaders summit will be held in the Netherlands during the period June 24 to 25th, the agenda for which will focus on issues relating to deterrence and defense. And Ukraine is not going to be attending any of the events. Zelensky will show up for a dinner, and that'll be it. Bad news for Zelensky. Very bad news. And Zelensky was thinking that he was going to fly into Canada, meet with the G7, meet with Trump, and ask for $40 billion, demand $40 billion. Zelensky posted on X, it's crucial to have $40 billion annually in budgetary support for Ukraine to ensure our resilience and the ability of our country to carry on. This should be a joint decision by G7 leaders, including the United States. Now, what Zelensky means is this should be a decision by the United States, $40 billion annually. No, actually, what Zelensky means in this post is I demand that the United States give me $40 billion annually. That's what Zelensky means in this post. He was going to fly into Canada, meet with Trump, and tell Trump Ukraine wants $40 billion annually to continue the war with Russia. That's the plan. That was the plan. And Trump took off. He didn't want to even see Zelensky. He didn't want to hear anything about Project Ukraine. And then we get the news that Ukraine will not be at any of the NATO events in the Netherlands. So one person that Zelensky did end up meeting with and hugging, of course, you have a lot of hugging, is none other than UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. They love the hugs. They love the hugs, don't they? Get a whiff of that Zelensky number 5, Keir. Get a whiff, Keir, of that Zelensky number 5. Take it all in, Keir Starmer. Zelensky posted on X, we aligned our positions for achieving lasting peace with UK Prime Minister Starmer. During our meeting, we discussed that to force Russia to end this war, coordinated sanctions by all G7 countries are needed against their energy and banking sectors, shadow fleet and military-industrial complex. In addition, our priority is strengthening air defense, both systems and missiles for them. This is underscored by Russia's constant massive attacks, which tragically claim the lives of Ukrainians. I thank Keir Starmer, the United Kingdom, and its people for their consistent support of Ukraine in our pursuit of a swift and just end to the war. Yeah, I wouldn't be waiting for air defense missiles and interceptors. Abraham Lincoln number 2. I don't think air defense systems and missiles are going to be arriving in Ukraine anytime soon from anybody in the collective West. Definitely not the United States. And if the Europeans have any such equipment, you got to imagine that the United States is telling the Europeans, those missiles, those interceptors, they're not going to. Hello? Oh, cool. I'm recording right now. Yes, yeah. Oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, yeah, I like this. I like this. Nice to see you. Yeah, yeah, Alexander is great. Great. Thank you. Good to see you. Take care. Yeah, he's if the Europeans are thinking of sending anything Zelensky's way, the United States is just going to say no, no, no. That's going to get redirected. That's getting redirected to the Middle East. No doubt about that. Even UK stuff. Even UK stuff. So what else? What else do we have to talk about? Some other news. Well, sticking with the G7, Bloomberg put out an article saying G7 leaders failed to convince Trump to toughen Russia's stance. Okay, that's the article from Bloomberg. I pretty much talked about what's going on there. No sanctions, no U.S. sanctions on Russia, none of that stuff. No toughening of sanctions. Nope. And actually, there are reports which are now saying that Lindsey Graham's bone-crushing sanctions have been put on hold in the Congress. Yeah, in the Senate. They're no longer talking about bone-crushing sanctions. I guess Lindsey Graham got the war he's always been wanting for so many decades, and it looks like they're laying off of the bone-crushing sanctions for now. Reuters is reporting that Chief Kellogg is going to be traveling to Belarus to meet with Lukashenko. What in God's name is Kellogg going to Belarus for? What is he going to tell Lukashenko? Well, he's going to tell Lukashenko to try and convince, he's going to try and convince Lukashenko to talk to Putin so that Putin can agree to his updated Kellogg's peace plan. He has updated his peace plan just a little bit. It has to do with the front lines. His previous peace plan said that the freeze would happen along the front lines where they stand now, and his updated plan says that the freeze is going to happen where the Russians have currently advanced or where they continue to advance. That's basically the difference. So as the Russians advance, basically Kellogg is saying that's where we'll freeze it. Okay. it's a little bit different, but it's still a ceasefire freeze plan that the Russians will never, ever accept. So he's going to Belarus to try and get Lukashenko on board. And you know what Lukashenko's going to tell him. We all know what Lukashenko's going to tell him. Germany, they came out with a statement. And the foreign ministry came out with a statement, and they said that today, they said that they are open to Iran negotiating some sort of a solution to the uranium enrichment. That was what Germany said. They're trying to, at least the foreign ministry appears to be trying to find a way to avoid a war, if you want to believe that. Merz, though, Friedrich Merz, he praised Israel for doing the dirty work for us. He said, Israel is doing the dirty work. This is the dirty work that Israel is doing for all of us. We are also victims of this regime, Merz said in an interview with ZDF, claiming that this mullah regime has brought death and destruction to the world. So the foreign ministry is saying that they want Iran to return to negotiations to try and avoid a war. And Merz, the chancellor, is saying that Israel is doing the work for us in escalating towards a war. Macron, he said that he supports Israel. He said he supports Israel, but he also said that he is against regime change. That's what Macron said. He is talking about another refugee crisis if you get a regime change in Iran and it goes horrifically wrong, which is more than likely. If you have something like what happened in Syria or in Libya, well, people are going to be heading towards Europe, right? And Macron is obviously very worried about that. And so he's saying no regime change in Iran. The St. Petersburg Forum, the International Economic Forum, is taking place today. And it's going to last until the 21st of June. So that's starting up. And I think we can do some clown worlds. We got Juan Guaido #4, who's being rolled out. The Shah Reza Pahlavi, the son of the Shah. He is being rolled out all across social media and mainstream media, giving speeches about how the Iranian regime is over. And he is now ready to return to Iran and to rule the country. That is what he is saying. All it takes now is a nationwide uprising to put this nightmare to an end. May I be with you. That is his statement from the other day. He's calling for a revolution, for a color revolution, for regime change, for a coup. And he actually believes that he is going to be the next ruler of Iran. From what I understand, his popularity in Iran is about at the level of this rock. That's how popular he is. That rock is more popular than Reza Pahlavi. He calls himself the Crown Prince. He calls himself Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. Anyway, that's one clown world, and another clown world is courtesy of stunning and brave Kallas, who is freaking out over the prospects of Russian President Putin, possibly, though I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe it could have happened 2 days ago. The off-ramp was presented to Trump, but obviously he didn't take Putin's off-ramp. The 1,000th off-ramp that Putin has provided to Trump when it comes to foreign policy. But Kallas is panicking that Putin might mediate some sort of a deal between Israel and Iran. And she is sounding the alarm bells, saying that this can never happen. We must not allow Putin to mediate any kind of peace in the Middle East. And then she went on to say that the oil price must be lowered to $45 a barrel. And it must be done immediately, because according to Kallas, if it is not done immediately, then we run the risk of, given everything that's happening in the Middle East, of the oil price going up rather than down. The brilliance of Kallas. Putin cannot be trusted as mediator, Kallas says, urges EU to tighten Russian oil cap after deadly Kiev strike. Russian President Putin cannot be trusted to mediate peace in the Middle East while continuing to launch brutal attacks against civilians, EU High Representative Kallas said on June 17th, following a mass Russian strike on Kiev that killed at least 21 people and injured over 130. Clearly, President Putin is not somebody who can talk about peace while we see actions like this, Kallas said during a briefing in Brussels. He's not a mediator that can really be considered. Russia cannot be a mediator if they don't really believe in peace. The whole idea of the oil price cap is to lower the prices, Kallas said. We shouldn't end up in a situation where the crisis in the Middle East increases oil prices and makes Russia earn more. That would mean they can fund their war machine on a bigger scale. That's Kallas. Very worried about the price of oil going up. Got to get that oil price down to $45. ASAP. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. Take care.